just showed you a clip of Crazy Good available on Netflix right now of Neal Brennan right here on the program. Are you a Jordan fan, a Michael Jordan fan?
Yeah,
okay.
And I'm quite old. So
Yes.
how old are you, Neal? Well, I'm so old, I once saw Michael Jordan mistaken for Orlando Woolridge. That's a true story. It was 1985.
Yes.
I got Michael Jordan's autograph, and a little white girl goes, "Are you Orlando Woolridge?" And his face fell like, "No, I'm Michael Jordan." And I feel like it probably never happened again. Like I saw the last time someone mistook Michael Jordan for somebody else.
You know what also might not happen again is hopefully this show has a long history. Another mention of Orlando Woolridge.
I mean,
you're the first, and it could. So you witnessed this in person, huh?
I literally saw it with my own eyes.
Where was this? The
This
old
is at the
Chicago Stadium.
My brother was an usher at the Chicago Stadium. My brother Tommy. And he was an usher at Wrigley Field in the press box. So I used to like deal with Harry Carey.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
Give me a good
insane.
one. What do you mean you used to deal with?
All
him?
I can think is just Will Ferrell going like, "Wear the sombrero." That's his Harry Carey. I don't have any good stories about him, but but yeah, I got to see. I used to go to Bulls games before Michael Jordan. I was very young, but like
that had to be a desolate experience.
Yeah, it was like I mean they were picketers. It was a bleak time. there was a player named Quentin Daly. He had some charges. You don't need to look it up. I'm sure you remember.
I remember that name sounds familiar to me. Sure, yeah.
So I saw it like early. I was an original Bulls fan. Dave Corzine.
Yeah, I think I had him in Stratomatic. You remember that old dice game with the cards? Dave Corzine. I used to have him.
I'm old. I'm not that old. I'm not Stratomatic old.
I'm Stratomatic old.
Speaking of old.
Yes, sir.
We saw each other at about a month and a half ago at the U2 show.
In the Sphere.
At the Sphere, owned by Jim Dolan. Don't worry about it.
It's okay.
Your face got scanned and you got swabbed. You're never going back. I saw you backstage.
Yeah.
At a U2 show, which 30 years ago would have been the coolest thing on earth, and now it's a bit like a reserved. Sort of cool, a lot of nice white wines and chilled.
By the way, I was very pleased with the wine selection backwards. So you were that. By the way, Susie, my wife and I went there. We will never forget that experience. I mean, the Ed's just strolling in.
Yeah, I thought you knew them. So I was like, oh, good for him. Yeah.
Isn't that
well, why did you take your shirt off? If you didn't know him.
Great question.
Why would a guy take his shirt off and backstage and have the Ed sign it? Your right breast, you'll never
forget it.
Never wash it off.
I know.
But I didn't realize.
Their bassist Adam was back there, and he was just as nice as possibly could be, and he's just like looking at us right in the eye. And my wife and I are like, "Don't you have like just chit-chatting? We'd never I don't know these people."
Also, it was like their 38th show. They're like phoning it in at this point.
We were just like, don't you have to go out there and give some sort of psychedelic performance?
Been in U2 for a while.
That was and you were there with
I was there with my friend Jimmy Carr, who also has a Netflix special that just dropped today called Natural Born Killer.
Yeah.
He's incredibly funny.
He is that.
He's very, very funny.
He's very wrong.
He's a naughty boy. He's a naughty.
A lot of the things he says are very
inappropriate. But that's the point of comedy. So I saw you there, and it was great. And it was. I didn't really. You know how you kind of think and then I looked around. I was like, oh, U2 is the Beach Boys. For you know what I mean?
Us?
Yeah, for us. It's like when you'd hear people go to Beach Boys concerts 30 years ago, you'd be like, Beach Boys. Right. That's what U2 is now.
Well,
they're incredible.
Yeah.
And I paid for tickets and went to the show.
Yeah.
But I got a sense of like aging.
Okay.
There.
Just looking around at the crowd.
The crowd. It was like a lot of it was like a Viagra commercial.
Well, you should have been at the Springsteen concert the other night.
How old was that crowd?
Were you the youngest person there?
I don't think I brought down the median age more than 10, 20 years. I don't know, but he's unbelievable.
Yeah, they're all great. They're all. I mean, again, like fame in the '80s is a very durable fame. Madonna, Bruce Springsteen, U2, Tom Cruise,
Michael Jordan,
Orlando Woolridge, of course.
Good. There's a callback.
There you go,
Look
ladies and
at us.
gentlemen. He's getting it, folks. He's had 99 comedians on. He's picking up some pointers.
Neal Brennan here, everybody, on the Rich Eisen Show. I did stand up in college.
Is that true?
I did indeed.
At where?
At the University Club on the campus of the University of Michigan, and it was.
By the way,
Yes.
for the guests or for the people watching this,
Yes.
You have your diplomas on the wall in the green room, which is like, has anyone questioned your qualifications?
No, where I don't know why they're up there.
Why? Who is he to have a talk show?
You're the first. Well, I have 2 degrees. I'm one doctorate shy of being Dr. Television.
What?
I know exactly. I don't know why I have him up there. Did you go in the men's room? Did you see Belichick back there?
I didn't.
Okay.
Literally, Bill Belichick.
He's back there. Well, there's a photograph of him, and it says "Do your job." That's over the toilet.
Great.
See,
Fantastic.
Just not to give anybody the
Fantastic.
right in the middle of trying to do their
as
business.
if I need those kind of eyeballs on me.
Okay. When did you first meet Dave Chappelle? When did that happen?
I met him in 1991. I was 18. We were both 18.
Right.
And I was a doorman at a comedy club. I was going to NYU Film School, and I was a doorman at a comedy club. And he and I were like the only people that were 18
That's it?
on Earth. No, we were it was an older, not older, but mid to late 20s.
So that's how you connected.
And he and I were like, hey, yeah.
Okay.
And then we started writing stuff together a little bit, and then we wrote Half Baked, the movie Half Baked, and then we wrote. And then we did Chappelle Show, and we wrote it, and I directed it. And all
By the way, that's a great yada 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 to just like, and then there was a Chappelle Show, and I wrote and I directed and all that sort of
I
business.
know, it seems braggy to be like,
not
I don't know
braggy,
if you
it's-
heard, but
Well, I brought it up.
No, you sure did.
I brought it up because obviously I'm fascinated by something that
How
was
could you not?
so
Yeah,
iconic.
it is objectively fascinating.
It
yeah.
is objectively fascinating and completely iconic to be part of something like that.
I only wrote one of the greatest shows of all time.
That's a pretty, we're part of something.
You guys brought it up.
I know. So, who came up with the idea of doing that?
Well, he called me and he said, "Hey, man, we should do like Playboy After Dark," which was it was like a talk show. I think he just said Playboy After Dark because Hugh Hefner smoked a lot on it.
Okay.
And I think he just wanted to smoke. Sure. And then we talked about it, and then we just came up with a bunch of sketches. He had a bunch, I had a bunch, and we just sort of were like, we could do that, we could do that, we could do that. And
So-
I think the original ones were like what became like the Kinko's sketch. It was like a Kinko's parody. The bloopers from Roots. and reparations, like the reparations day. So we shot all that stuff, and then we pitched it at HBO, and they passed.
Oh, man.
What do you mean?
Yeah,
they
no,
passed?
they literally said, "Why do we need you? We already have Chris Rock."
Oh my word!
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's because back then there could only be one famous black person, whereas now there could be 3. So we did Comedy Central, and it just kind of clicked.
It was the Chris Rock talk show at the time. Is what you're
a
saying.
great show, by the way.
Of course,
Yeah.
I
Take
remember.
nothing away.
I do remember that
No, it's a
show
great show.
significantly. Right.
Yeah.
Bloopers from Roots.
Yes,
I
the
mean,
bloopers
that
from
is-
Roots.
That's right. What's your favorite sketch, Neal, that you guys did?
There's like Rick James, obviously, like changed my life. Like literally, like I directed it, got nominated for an Emmy for direct, like, and our contracts were up at the end of that year.
Oh, wow.
Got like big good contracts, and which Dave immediately tore up and left. But before he did,
Yes.
they had to give me some of the money. So I would say Rick James, and then it's just because it's not as popular. There was one where Dave is doing like jury selection
Yeah.
for a bunch of different famous celebrity trials.
Oh, Beretta did that.
My brother did that.
Nicole Simpson can't rap.
Yeah.
I could go on.
Neal's in the corner taking notes. Was that?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So so that one means more because we were screwed. Like we had no more sketches. Like the 11th episode of that season, I think we just did a garbage show. We literally just like, here's scraps. We're just so we needed a sketch so badly. And there was a Michael Jackson article in Vanity Fair, like the first big hard hitting one of like this guy. And I was like, hey, and I tossed it to him. We were like we're like at a writing like place. I was like, hey, and then we just started arguing. He just didn't believe any black celebrity was guilty of anything. So I would argue the prosecution basically.
And so then what was born out of that? Was
this sketch, it was called Jury Selection, where he was a prospective jury on like the OJ trial, the Michael Jackson trial, the Robert Blake trial, just R. Kelly. It's a good sketch.
And so that's the sketch.
Well,
I mean,
sorry everybody.
No. Again, but that's the edgy. Clearly,
it's like, what's funny about that?
No, but that's what made your writing and directing along with Dave Chappelle. Just it clicked in a way that maybe these days it would not.
The thing of like these days, it's Dave's doing arenas.
No, I know
so
that.
I don't see it as all this like.
But TV
all the
arenas are one thing,
yeah.
But putting it on television is a totally different story.
I think it's on Netflix. It does well. You know what I mean? Like I think it's a kind of a fake narrative of like you can't say anything anymore. I think you can in the right venue because Comedy Central was sort of fringy at that point.
Yes.
And the other thing about Comedy Central is they've only made money on very contrarian things. They made most of their money on South Park and The Daily Show.
Yes.
So they want it to be, inappropriate or boundary pushing.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I got Neal Brennan here on the Rich Eisen Show. Your Blocks with Neal Brennan podcast, very popular and, adapted from your one-man show as well. Do you, how do you come up with ideas for your pod? I mean, what are your...
I just have basically the premise of the pod is it's people come on and tell me things that make them feel like something's wrong with them, like the ways they don't fit in. So I've had some really good ones. Letterman did it, Leno did it, Bill Burr, Jim Jeffries, Tom Segura, like people, and they're more revealing than normal. Letterman hated it.
Why?
But because he doesn't like being revealing. It's just not his thing. It's just not his bag. But he was very. His friend Tom Dreesen said that's the only good interview he's ever done. Because I know him a little bit, so I could like ask him questions about like parenting and stuff. It's Blocks on YouTube.
Yeah, Tom Dreesen has been in this chair and he's coming back this summer.
Fantastic.
I mean, he's as old school as they get.
I have a lot of money on him referencing Orlando Woolridge.
Well, he's another Chicago guy. It's entirely possible he had a similar situation.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen right here on the program. Neal, thanks for coming on.
Oh, my pleasure.
Really
man.
appreciate it.
Flew by.
Terrific. Well, this video that you provided to our
this
producers.
is how
what is this again?
Silly people are. This is a live shot from the U2 concert that we were at. This
at the
is
Sphere.
I wasn't in a suite. I was for one was with the people.
What a
this
spot.
This was where the streets have no name, panning over.
Yeah.
And what's a guy to my right doing?
What's
Apple Vision Pro, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
What is
the
it?
entire show. He's wearing one of those Apple Vision Pros.
Meaning
the whole
the
show,
VR?
he can't see. I don't know what he can see. Jimmy Carr said he was watching a Coldplay concert.
He didn't like because the reason
the whole show he had that on.
Obviously, to see U2 anywhere is something for those who are fans.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead and do. But
The 50-plus crowd.
To
Go ahead.
see him in the Sphere, there's a reason because of the striking visual. I mean, you can't even describe how cutting edge it is unless you've seen it in person. And this dude is purposefully not seeing that.
Try to take it to the next level. It's like when I won't say, it's like when you're doing one drug and then you add another one. This is not the place for it.
So weren't you at least curious to go over and say, what are you doing?
I don't know what that guy could choke me and who knows? That guy's capable of anything.
With his device. That is unbelievable.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
It's these people who also have them on in the self-driving Teslas, and you're just like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing?
They're trying to pop it off, man. They're trying to get truly lit.
Maybe he's wearing that in his self-driving Tesla.
Yes.
That could be the next level.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, thanks for bringing this to our attention.
It's my pleasure.
I appreciate that. At Neal Brennan on both Twitter and Instagram, the Blocks with Neal Brennan podcast. Check it out wherever you get your podcasts. And Crazy Good is available on Netflix right now. And you can see that right here on Roku. Crazy Good. Good to see you, Neal Brennan. Thanks for coming. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.